While some families have done great things for humanity, others have committed some of the worst crimes imaginable. From evil dictators to crazy cult leaders, these families are truly some of the worst the world has ever seen. First on our list is the Bender family. While this might not be the most infamous name in the world, this family was causing terror around the state of Kansas in the 1870s. The Benders were operating a small cabin on the Great Osage Trail where they would welcome hungry travelers who needed to take a break. While the patrons would always receive a very hearty meal, they would also receive a terrible fate that was kept a secret for a very long time. It took a while for people to catch on, but it seems that the Benders were quietly making their guests disappear. As the patrons were eating their food at the counter, a Bender family member would bludgeon them over the back of the head before they were dragged into the back room. It's a bit of a mystery why they were even doing this in the first place, but their terrible crimes lasted for quite a long time. No one knows how many victims were claimed by the Benders, but the family eventually disappeared without a trace. Next up, we have the Kray Twins. There have been many famous criminals in London over the years, but the Kray brothers are by far some of the most memorable. The identical twins had a firm grip on a lot of the shady business dealings in the Greater London area, and they stopped at nothing to get everything they wanted and more. The duo was operating out of a nightclub, and they forced the owner to sell by displaying brute force. This allowed them to control their day-to-day business while staying far away from the authorities and the public eye. Their rap sheet was extensive and included various deadly crimes, but they were seemingly untouchable. Many people actually liked the Kray Twins because they would offer protection services to ensure that other criminals would never touch their clients. They were celebrities of the 1960s in their own twisted way, but their fame didn't last forever. While it seemed like they were going to be invincible for the rest of their lives, the authorities finally managed to get some dirt on them and locked them up for good in 1968. Next on our list is Pol Pot. Now, his actual birth name is Salah Tsar, but many remember him as the ruthless dictator known as Pol Pot. Pot first discovered his love for communism while he was studying radio electronics in Paris. This prompted him to leave his education behind and pursue a career with the French Communist Party. He also lost his scholarship for failing his exams, but this allowed him to return to Cambodia and begin his rise to power. He spent 12 years building up the Communist Party of Cambodia and eventually overthrew the government in 1975. Pot's barbaric policies directly resulted in millions of lives being lost in his own country, which ensured that he was one of the most evil people in history. While his reign only lasted 4 years, his own people were forced into physical labor, which led to starvation and widespread disease. The Vietnamese invaded Cambodia in 1979 and forced Pot to retreat to Thailand along with his communist forces, which put a stop to his unbelievable reign of terror. After that, we have the Jim Jones family. It wasn't a blood-related family, but the cult of Jim Jones built up a reputation for their twisted ideologies. Jim Jones founded the bizarre religion known as the People's Church back in 1955. He started to grow his following by advocating for civil rights and providing homes to help treat people with mental health issues. Now, things seemed pretty normal at first until Jones decided to move all his followers to a compound in Redwood Valley, California. This was after he had read an article on the best place to survive a nuclear war. He then decided that he needed to be further away from the media and moved everyone down to Guyana, where he created a brand new compound known as Jonestown. They stated that Jones was confiscating medicine from his own followers, forced them into hard physical labor, and declared that every man had to be a homosexual. U.S. Congressman Leo Ryan and members of the media decided to visit Jonestown in November 1978. They were all eliminated by cultists on site. After this incident, Jones instructed all of his followers to drink cyanide, as it was apparently the only way to escape. More than 900 members passed away due to the terrible actions of Jim Jones himself. Up next is Jimmy Savile. Here's someone who is very highly regarded in the public eye before his darkest secrets were revealed following his passing. Savile rose to fame through his work for the BBC Radio and gained a ton of respect for his philanthropic work. He was even knighted by Queen Elizabeth in 1990 for all of his contributions to the United Kingdom. While he was easily one of the most beloved citizens while he was still alive, his terrible actions eventually came to light after he was long gone. It turns out that Savile was a dangerous predator who had committed unspeakable acts during his lifetime. Hundreds of people eventually came forward with their own stories of Savile's crimes, which are beyond graphic. Somehow he managed to keep everything a secret, and many believe that his family was assisting him with the cover-up. His terrible crimes were the center of various documentaries which exposed all the brutal acts that Savile was able to get away with during his lifetime. Next on our list is the Sackler family. While that name doesn't have a celebrity ring to it, this family happens to be one of the worst in American history. The Sackler family are the owners of Purdue Pharma, and they have been labeled as one of the main villains in the ongoing opioid crisis. The company was founded all the way back in 1892 before the Sackler family bought it decades later and turned it into an evil empire. The company has created highly addictive pain medicine over the years, which has led to millions of overdoses. It seems that the Sacklers were willingly making their medicine more addictive than others to help build up their pharmaceutical stranglehold. Their dangerous substances have also been leaked into neighborhoods, which have created violent gangs and criminals. While all of their scandals and shady business dealings were finally coming to light, Purdue Pharma eventually filed for bankruptcy in 2023. Up next is Frank Morris and the Anglin brothers. These brothers in arms were serving time in Alcatraz before they devised an incredible escape plan. Frank Morris and brothers John and Clarence Anglin were serial robbers who spent a lot of their lives going in and out of prison for many violent crimes. They were all sent to Alcatraz to serve time at the maximum security prison for their actions, but they did not plan on staying very long. The brothers managed to come up with an incredible escape plan that is still talked about to this very day. They started off by making tunnels out of the vents that were in their own cells. They did this by using saw blades and metal spoons that they found around the prison. Once they had finally dug the holes to the point it reached an unguarded maintenance corridor, the trio placed papier-mâché heads in their beds to fool the guards into thinking they were still sleeping. Moores created DIY life preservers for everyone, and the criminals set off into the water, never to be seen again. Next on our list is the Kim family. North Korea has been in the media for all the wrong reasons, and the ruling Kim family is the main reason for that. Following the end of the Korean War, Kim Il-sung introduced a new wave of authoritarianism for his citizens in the north. There was widespread famine and concentration camps, and the idea of free speech was completely absent. Even despite all of his atrocities, however, Kim Il-sung was worshipped like a god. After his passing in 1994, his son Kim Jong-il took charge and carried on his father's dictator legacy. Kim Jong-il was no better than his father. Many believe that his own crimes have actually made North Korea even worse. Flash forward into modern times, and the current leader Kim Jong-un is just as bad as his father and his grandfather before him. He is continuing to oppress his own people by banning things like the internet, while constantly threatening nuclear warfare against the West. After that, we have Josef Mengele. Nicknamed the Angel of Death, Mengele was a physician who served for the German military in the 1940s. While he worked in a team environment, this man was mainly responsible for some despicable experiments that were conducted on prisoners of war. He was part of a team of doctors who would hand-select people to be summoned to gas chambers and other terrible punishments. He would also use his knowledge in the medical field to conduct horrifying mutation experiments on prisoners who were deemed not fit for physical labor. Mengele somehow managed to get away with all of his atrocities even after the war ended, and concentration camps were finally shut down. Mengele even managed to escape to South America, where he was able to start a family and live a free life. Both West Germany and Israel requested the extradition of Mengele on numerous occasions so he could be punished, but the Angel of Death somehow managed to stay clear of any repercussions. And last but not least is the clan of Genghis Khan. There aren't too many people who caused more destruction than Genghis Khan and his forces. While he was undoubtedly one of the most powerful leaders in history, his widespread invasion resulted in some of the worst genocides in history. Genghis Khan and his clan of loyal soldiers invaded many settlements while he was in charge of the mighty Mongol Empire. One of the most notable demographic changes in history was a direct result of the Mongolian invasion of the Persian Empire. Historians have estimated that Genghis Khan eliminated close to 90% of the global Persian population during his attacks. These same attacks also led to the destruction of important artifacts and religious motifs. Historians have also estimated that Genghis Khan was involved with thousands of women and fathered hundreds of illegitimate children. The ruthless war criminal managed to get away with all of his terrible crimes until the bubonic plague eventually got the better of him. And that wraps up our look at these scandalous families in history that did unspeakable crimes. We hope you enjoyed this video, and we'll see you all next time.